This is Decoded, AI for Everyone, the podcast that makes sense of artificial intelligence, not just in your pocket, but in your world.
Okay, everybody, attention please. All right, everyone, take out your homework. I've reviewed your study patterns from the past week. You learn best through examples, not theory. Let's try a different approach today.
That wasn't a teacher. That was an adaptive learning system. An AI capable of analysing strengths, weaknesses, pace, memory, and motivation, and tailoring education to the individual. This technology is already in classrooms, universities, and living rooms. From Google's Learn Your Way to adaptive university programs to independent platforms like Faculty AI, AI is reshaping how we learn and who gets left behind. Today, we're asking a question that affects every learner, teacher, parent, and employer. If AI can teach anyone, will it teach everyone?
Season 2 of Decoded, AI for Everyone, is powered by Stratagen AI, where research meets execution.
Welcome back to Decoded, AI for Everyone, and the next chapter in our mini-series, AI plus the Human Experience. In this episode, we dive into AI in education, where learning becomes personalised, adaptive, and deeply data-driven. We'll explore how AI tutors are changing classrooms, reshaping workforce skills, and transforming the way we build knowledge, from school to university to lifelong learning at work. And critically, what this means for you, your family, your job, and your future. Let's start with something most of us remember. Sitting in a classroom, trying to keep up, or trying not to get bored. Wondering why the lesson felt too fast, too slow, or simply not made for the way you understand things. AI doesn't see a classroom that way. It doesn't teach 30 students the same thing at the same pace. It teaches one learner at a time, at the same time, and it adjusts, constantly, quietly, invisibly. Today's adaptive learning systems, like Google's Learn Your Way, Khanmigo, and even platforms like Faculty AI, do something human teachers simply can't do every minute. They read your learning patterns. They can tell how quickly you grasp a concept, where you stumble, what keeps you motivated, and when your attention is starting to fade. Not through surveillance, through signals you already produce. Pace, attempts, pauses, confusion points, keystroke rhythms, even the kinds of mistakes you make. And from that, they build the next step in your learning path. Not a curriculum, a personalised pathway generated in seconds. Google's Learn Your Way does this by blending recommended content with the exact learning style that suits you. Examples, visuals, step-by-step breakdowns, or challenge-first learning. Khanmigo does it by acting like a tutor who nudges, guides, and asks questions instead of handing over answers. Faculty AI helps students explore, question, and structure knowledge in a way that adapts to what they already know and what they don't know yet. So what does this feel like in real life? Imagine you're struggling with calculus. A traditional classroom can only slow down so much without holding 30 other people back. But an AI tutor? It slows down with you, then speeds up when you're ready. Or imagine you're a strong visual learner, but your textbook is all text. An adaptive tutor instantly shifts to diagrams, examples, animations, audio explanations, whatever makes the concept click. And here's the part that makes it so transformative. There's no judgment, no embarrassment, no pressure to keep up. just learning, at your pace. For the layperson, it's basically this. It's like having a personal coach for every subject, one that never gets tired, distracted, or frustrated. For educators and researchers, it's a shift from teaching to the average to teaching to the individual. For business leaders, it's the foundation of lifelong capability uplift. Scalable, personalised, measurable. And for society, it's the possibility of removing one of the biggest barriers in education, being left behind simply because the system couldn't adapt to you.
At Stratagen AI, we see adaptive learning as a catalyst for capability uplift. Scalable, measurable, personalised.
When people talk about AI in education, the conversation often starts with efficiency. But the real promise is access. Access to understanding, access to opportunity, access to a kind of learning that finally adjusts to the learner, not the other way around. Let's explore what that looks like in practice. Number 1, neurodiversity and tailored learning formats for students with dyslexia, ADHD, autism, or processing differences. Traditional classrooms can feel like they're built on invisible obstacles. AI, however, doesn't see a hard-to-teach learner. It sees a learning pattern and adapts. If reading text is challenging, AI can switch instantly to audio explanations, simplified breakdowns, visual metaphors, step-by-step scaffolding, or interactive problem-solving. If a student presents with ADHD learns best in short bursts, AI can repackage a 50-minute lesson into micro-learning loops. If a student on the autism spectrum processes literal information more clearly, AI can present content without ambiguity. This doesn't just remove barriers, it removes stigma. Number 2, rural and under-resourced communities where you live has always shaped how well you learn. AI begins to break that equation. A student in remote Queensland or rural India can now access the same high-quality explanations as a student in Sydney, London, or New York. Not the same teacher, the same teaching capability, delivered through adaptive systems. For the first time, world-class tutoring doesn't require money, geography, or privilege. It requires access to a device and a connection. And while that opens a new conversation about digital equity, which we'll get to, the promise remains enormous. Number 3, adult learners and the new workforce. Reality. For adults, learning has always been time-poor, pressure-heavy, and unequal. AI changes that. If you're a nurse retraining in digital health, a tradesperson moving into smart construction, or a parent upskilling after years out of the workforce, AI becomes a tutor that adapts to your schedule, your pace, your gaps, your confidence levels. This is where platforms like Faculty AI shine. Micro-learning modules, guided prompting, exam prep, self-audit tools, concept reinforcement, personalised reflections. It's not school, it's support. And for businesses, this means capability uplift isn't limited by budget or classroom availability, but by how fast people want to grow. And number 4, the big idea. AI opens doors that traditional education closed. At its heart, the promise of AI in education is simple. AI opens doors that traditional education has kept closed. It opens doors for students who learn differently, for communities that have been overlooked, for adults who feel they've fallen behind, for people whose curiosity never fit neatly into school structures, and for families who simply want their children, or themselves, to feel capable, confident, and curious. AI doesn't create equality automatically, but for the first time, it gives us the tools to make equality possible. For all the promise of AI in education, we need to be honest about the risks, the ones that sit quietly beneath the optimism. Because the same systems that open doors can also widen the gaps between learners, if we're not careful. Let's explore 4 of the biggest risks. Number 1, the digital divide. Who gets the benefits? Adaptive learning sounds incredible, but only if you have a stable internet connection, a modern device, a private space to learn, time to engage. AI tools don't just reward effort, they reward infrastructure. Students with newer laptops, better bandwidth, and digital literacy simply get more out of these systems. Meanwhile, those with outdated devices or shared family computers can fall further behind, not because of ability, but because of access. This creates a paradox. AI can teach anyone, but it may not reach everyone. Number 2, algorithmic bias, when learning isn't neutral. AI learns from data, and data reflects the world we've built. If training data underrepresents Indigenous students, neurodiverse learners, non-native English speakers, marginalised communities, then the AI may not understand how they learn, where they struggle, or what they need. This is where the human impact becomes real. A student from a marginalised background may get less relevant examples. A student with dyslexia may get explanations that are technically correct, but cognitively misaligned. A refugee student might be flagged as inconsistent because the system doesn't recognise varied schooling patterns. Bias in education, AI isn't theoretical, it's personal. It shapes who feels capable and who is quietly told they're not. Number 3, over-reliance, when answers replace understanding. Here's a paradox you'll recognise. AI can explain anything, but it can also make you stop asking why. For some students, AI becomes a shortcut, a way to arrive at the answer without learning the reasoning. And that creates a long-term risk, performance without comprehension. In early tests with adaptive systems, some students improved their grades, but scored lower on critical thinking tasks. Education isn't just knowledge, it's cognitive muscle. And if AI carries the weight too often, we risk letting those muscles weaken. And number 4, shadow education, a new kind of inequality. A quiet trend is emerging, the rise of premium AI tutoring tiers. If basic AI tutoring is free, but the really effective version costs $20, $50, or $100 a month, we've just recreated private tutoring, but with algorithms. This is shadow education, version 2.0. Those who can pay accelerate. Those who can't are stuck with the baseline. And those who can't access AI at all fall even further behind. Equity doesn't come from technology, it comes from design. So here's the real question, the human impact question, the one that cuts through the tech and the hype. What happens to the students the model wasn't trained for? What happens to the voices left out of the dataset? The learners the system misreads? The students whose lives don't fit the algorithm? Because if education becomes data-driven, then inclusion must become deliberate. As AI becomes more deeply woven into education, the next challenge isn't capability, it's ethics. Because adaptive learning doesn't just see what you know, it sees how you learn, and sometimes how you feel. These systems analyse emotional sentiment, attention patterns, confusion points, behavioural signals. Not to punish students, but to personalise support. But this raises a crucial question. Who does that emotional data belong to? The school? The tech company? Or the student? In some classrooms overseas, AI is already being used to track eye movements, facial expressions, and engagement levels. In certain US districts, behaviour scoring systems predict which students might struggle. And in workplaces, learning platforms can measure stress, productivity, and cognitive load. This isn't science fiction, it's the present, quietly emerging at the edges. Here's where the ethical tension appears. Personalisation can support, but surveillance can harm. Academic integrity also shifts. It's no longer about cheating, it's about co-intelligence. Students completing tasks with AI, not instead of it. And teachers? They're no longer just instructors. They're becoming orchestrators of knowledge, balancing human guidance with algorithmic assistance. So what does all of this actually mean for you? Whether you're a student, a parent, a teacher, or a leader. Let's break it down. For the student, AI can accelerate your learning, but it can also make things too easy. Use it to understand, not just to answer. If the AI explains something well, pause and ask yourself, do I understand this, or did the system understand it for me? Critical thinking is still yours to train. For the parent, AI can help your child learn faster, but speed isn't depth. Ask them what they understood, not just what they completed. The goal isn't perfect homework, it's confidence. For the teacher, you're not being replaced, you're being repositioned. Your role becomes orchestrating the learning journey, guiding judgment, creativity, reflection, and ethics. Things no algorithm can replicate.
Emotional and behavioural data must be governed with the same protection as health data.
Because education can become a partnership, but only if students know what the AI is doing. For the business leader, AI gives you scalable capability uplift. But skills only matter if they're ethical, measurable, and human-centered. Build learning ecosystems where AI assists and humans apply judgment. This is how organisations grow with integrity. And for everyone, AI can teach you anything, but it can't decide what's worth learning. So ask yourself, if AI can teach me anything, what do I still need to learn myself? Because education isn't just information, it's identity, and that still belongs to you. So that's AI in education, a revolution not in classrooms, but in minds. AI expands access. AI accelerates learning. AI personalises everything. But learning has never been just information. It's curiosity, it's guidance, it's confidence, it's connection. And those are still human. As AI takes its place beside teachers, students, and lifelong learners, the real question isn't what the technology can do, it's how we choose to learn with it. Next time on Decoded, we step into one of the most profound questions of our time: AI in healthcare and longevity. AI is diagnosing disease earlier than ever. It's mapping proteins, accelerating drug discovery, analysing personal health data, and even exploring ways to extend the human lifespan. But the question we need to ask is this: can AI help us live longer, or just measure us better? From aging and precision medicine to digital biomarkers and the ethics of health data, we'll unpack how AI is transforming the future of well-being and what that means for the decisions we make about our own bodies. For AI tools, resources, tips, and comparisons, visit promptengineeringcookbook.com. I'm Joel Leslie. Stay aware, stay intentional, stay human.
Season 2 of Decoded, AI for Everyone, is powered by StratoGen AI, where research meets execution.